Hi parents, I wanted to take a minute to show you what our homework's going to look like this year. Every week I'll send home a homework packet. It comes home Monday and it's due on Friday. The front cover of the packet tells you the directions for each worksheet that's attached. So it'll list Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday it says homework due back. If we don't have school on a Monday, then Monday will say no school, and then I'll have the directions for Tuesday and the rest of the week. Still due on Friday. If you forget to bring it to school on Friday, you can turn it in on Monday, but I do not accept late homework after that. So please make sure that you're sending this to school on Fridays with your student in their home folders. Thanks. Now I'm going to talk to you about how to do each page so that you have an idea how to complete each one to help your child with their homework. This is the reading log for our homework packet. At the beginning of the year, you'll be reading books from home, and you can read books from home all throughout the year, but towards the middle of the year, I'll start sending book pouches home with books from school in it that are at your child's reading level that you can read with them for this log as well. What you're going to do, you'll notice there's no Friday because homework is due on Friday. So you'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Write the book title. So if I read The Three Little Bears, just to let me know what you read. Sometimes I use this information to help me know more about what the students like to read so we can get more books suited to their interests. Then the next column say read to child, read with child, or read by child. So this will change depending on the level of the book, the time of year, and how your child is progressing with their reading abilities. It might be all. You might list several books here, and maybe you read one book to your child, maybe you read it together, and maybe your child is able to read a whole book to you. You can check off whichever one you completed. If you completed all three, check off all three. Comments, some parents like to let me know different comments like this book was a little bit too easy for them, or they had a really great time with this book, they were sounding out all of the words, different comments like that. You do not have to write any comments to me, but I will read them. And then just initial it so I know that you read with them. That's how we're going to do our reading log this year. The next page, at the beginning of the year, we'll have 2 letters in our homework packet, and it's just to practice directionality of the writing the letter for your child, and of course to promote neat handwriting. So the first thing that you're going to see is the bubble letters here. In class we do something called rainbow writing. When we rainbow write, the students have to use 5 colors. So they can use crayon or marker when they're doing this, and they're going to take one color at a time and they're just going to write the letter inside of the bubble with 5 different colors. The kids just like this because they love using different colors, and it helps them with their directionality of the letter. We're always starting at the top and pulling down. So they're going to do that with 5 different colors. Here we're working on the skill of coloring uppercase letters or capital and blue, and coloring lowercase letters red. So they'll look for the uppercase letters and they'll color the square blue. They'll find the lowercase letters and color the lowercase square red. And they'll do that for the whole box. Down here, please make sure that your student is using pencil, or your child is using pencil when they're writing. I'm going to be using pen, but I always tell the children to use pencil when they're writing letters or numbers. The first row is for them to trace it. Sometimes some letters can be tricky for the kids, so they're going to go through and they're going to trace all of the letters first. The next line they're going to practice on their own. The top row is uppercase, the bottom is lowercase, so they're practicing both of those letters. So down here they're going to trace it, and then they'll practice on their own. We always tell them that some letters stand on the line, some letters sit on the line, and some letters dangle down below the line. This page is promoting reading comprehension for your child. The worksheets may look like this. I also have a few other different formats, but it'll be very similar. It will be a short passage to read and 3 questions to answer about it. Some of them you'll have to bubble it in. It'll kind of like a bubble sheet. A few of them you might have to write a sentence, or one just might have like a rhyming answer that you write. So you will help your child read the passage and then answer the questions to go along with it. If they want to color the pictures, they can. It's not required. So when Jacob saw the bees today, they were on the hive. The bees had been to the flowers to gather pollen. Who saw the bees? So your child should write this. If your child is having difficulty writing at the beginning of the year, you can always use a highlighter and you can write it with like a yellow marker, or you could make little dotted lines for them to trace over, just like this. And then they can go through and they can trace over your dotted line. But please do not write it for them. What were they on? What were the bees on? They were on the hive. So just write hive. Where had the bees been? The bees had been to the flowers to gather pollen. You can write to the flowers. This helps the children to think about what they're reading and understand what they're reading rather than just focusing on the words. They tend to, when they're learning how to read, just focus on word by word, and this will actually help them understand what they are reading. That's why we've included this in the homework packet. Okay, this page you'll see around January to the end of the year. We'll start our spelling test, and I'll include spelling practice on the homework. I'll have the words listed here. You can see this week it was cap, tap, map, rap, my, and we. We usually always have 3 to 4 word family words. That's these rhyming words here. And then 2 or 3 sight words. So on the next page, this is our spelling homework page. And the first thing that you have to do is you have to put the words in alphabetical order. For the children, I usually call this ABC order. And I tell them to sing the ABCs in their head and look at the words. So first we'll take a look at it. Then I say, do we have any that start with A? No. Do we have any that start with B? C? Cap. That will be our first word. You'll write cap on the first line. Go back. D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, map. And then my, because when you have 2 words that start with the same letter, you have to go to the second letter and you take whichever letter comes first in the alphabet of the second letter. So A comes before Y. Then we're gonna go with rap, tap, and then we. Okay, so there's only 5 spots on here. We've put 5 of the 6 words in alphabetical order, or ABC order. Now the next thing that we're gonna do, right here it says rhyme. We're gonna think of a rhyme for each word. So we'll just take number 1 for time purposes. Cap. I'm going to write nap. So you would go through and do that for all of the words. Next, on these lines, I'd like your child to come up with a sentence using our spelling word. I wear a cap. They're gonna write it out. So they're always starting the sentence with an uppercase, using finger spaces between their words. I wear a cap. And of course, ending the sentence with a period. If they are not spelling it correctly, that's okay. We practice kindergarten spelling, which is having the students stretch out the words and listening for the sounds. So if they're writing down the sounds that they hear, that's great. The last thing that they need to do is to draw a picture of it. So they would draw a picture of themselves wearing a cap. And that's it. So that's how we do our spelling homework. This is a writing paper that you'll see come home in the homework packet. And there'll be a picture here and lines here for your child to write a sentence about it. Or they can write 2 sentences or 3 sentences, depending on what level they're at. So the first thing that they're gonna wanna do is color it and think about what they wanna say. I've had some children add details to it. They might draw a fish in here. Maybe they are, drawing the top of the water. Maybe they're adding a shark. You could draw a shark attacking the submarine, and their sentence could be, I see a shark attacking a submarine. We always try and get them to add more detail into their sentences. At first, our sentences will be more simple. I see a submarine. Then I try and get them to add in a color word, some kind of adjective, a big, small, dirty, clean, tall. So they might say, I see a yellow submarine. Then I try and get them to add even more detail, and they might say something like, I see a yellow submarine looking at a fish through the periscope. Whatever they come up with, they can try and write it. So again, we're using inventive spelling. Of course, I is going to be one of our sight words. We're going to use a finger space. C, again, one of our sight words. So after we learn this in class, I'll expect to see it written correctly. I see a, another sight word, submarine. Now this is where they would have their inventive spelling. So I always tell them to pretend that they're holding a rubber band and that they're stretching that word out, and then it's going to snap back together. So they would go submarine, submarine. So they're going to write down the words that they hear, and it may look like this. S, b, m, een. If they wrote that, I would be really happy because they're writing the sounds that they hear, and I can tell that they were trying to spell submarine. Again, we always are ending our sentence with a period. This is how they will complete this page. Here's an example of some math that you may see come home in the homework packet. We'll have addition and subtraction that come in the same exact format. There'll be a couple of sentences. You'll have to draw the picture, use the number line, write an equation, and write their answer. This one is a subtraction problem. I can see 7 ladybugs on the flower. 4 ladybugs fly away. How many are left? Your child may choose to draw a flower and draw 7 ladybugs on it, and then draw 4 maybe flying away, but that might be a little bit confusing because they'll have 7 and they'll have 4. As long as they understand that these 4 that they drew are flying away, it's okay. But what I'll be teaching them in class is to put an X or to cross off the ones that are flying away. Or when we take away, do subtraction, that's how I teach them to do it, to cross off their drawing. We'll also use model drawing, which would look like this. Drawing 7 squares. Then they'll cross off 4 because 4 ladybugs flew away. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 3 left. That's their answer. On the number line, it would look like this. You find the first number. There's 7 ladybugs. That's where we're going to start. When we're subtracting, we're moving down the number line because the numbers are getting smaller. So we're going to move down the number line, touching each number as we move until we've hopped down 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've landed on the number 3, the same answer that we got in our picture. Now we're going to write an equation. When we're subtracting, we always start with the largest number. So 7 ladybugs were on the flower. 4 ladybugs flew away. That's how many we crossed off. How many ladybugs were left? 3. Now they have to write their answer again, and it has the unit. 3 ladybugs. That's how you complete this page. Graphing is something that we'll be talking about this year, and you'll see some of these graphing worksheets come home as part of the homework. When the children are graphing, they'll want to take a look at whatever objects are up here in the picture, and then they're going to want to take a look at the bottom to see what picture they're going to be counting first. First, we're counting the ladybug. I always tell the children to cross them off in the picture so that they don't get confused on how many they're counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ladybugs. We're going to be making a bar graph, so we're going to color in 8 squares moving up the graph. Same thing for the next one. Now we're counting spiders. 1, 2, 2 spiders. Now we're coloring in 2 squares on our bar graph. Next, we're counting flies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 flies. Coloring in 5 squares to represent 5 flies. Next, we're counting bees. 1, 2. 2 bees. And lastly, we are counting butterflies. There is 1 butterfly. In the directions on the front cover, I ask that you ask your child which bug had the most. Well, they're going to look at the bar graph and see which bar is the tallest. Ladybugs had the most. Some parents choose to have their kid write it on the side. Ladybugs had the most. Or sometimes they circled it and they made me a little key. I'll also ask you to talk with your child about which bug had the least. That was the butterfly. So again, you can choose to have your child write it out, or you can show me a key and they can circle it on their own. Please make sure that you are helping them do it, not doing it for them. This will help them when they are graphing for our math curriculum and when they're taking the NWEA map test on the computer. All right, this one, I have one of these sheets for every number up to about 30. So I like this sheet because it's having the kids engage in many different mathematical skills. First, they have to circle the number on the number line. So we're looking for the number 17. Next, they're going to trace it and then write it on their own. Again, they should be using pencil for this. I always tell the kids whenever we're writing numbers or letters, we're always using pencil. Next, we have the number word 17. Again, they're going to trace it and then practice writing it on their own. And when they're writing letters, we want to make sure that if it's lowercase and it's not a tall letter, that it's between the middle and the bottom line. We always want to make sure that the placement of the letter is in the correct spot on our writing road. I call this a writing road in class. Next, we're going to be talking about coins. So it says color the coins to equal 17 cents. Now they can use a crayon or marker to color this in. Here's a nickel, 5, a dime, 10, we've got 15, now 2 pennies, 16, 17. That's how they would complete that one. Down here, write the numbers that come before 17. So they're going to trace 17 and then write the numbers that come before it. 17, 16, 15. Write the numbers that come after 17. 17, 18, 19. Here, your child may choose to color it, or several of the students still like to do that rainbow writing, which is using 5 different colored crayons or markers and tracing the number with the 5 different colors. Next, we have 10 frames. This is a big thing that we talk about in class, and they should be able to look at a number in a tens frame and tell us how many there are. So when they're showing us the number 17, they're going to be drawing a dot inside of each square. Of course, we're going to be filling up one whole tens frame to make 10. Then we need 7 more. Now we've made 17 on our double tens frame. Here, these are base 10 blocks. When you see a long like this, that's 10 blocks stacked on top. So they would color in one whole long for 10, and then come color 7 over here. Show 17 in tally marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, diagonal on the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, diagonal on the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, diagonal on the 5. 1, 2. Now they can practice counting by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. Lastly, add dots to the black box to make both dominoes add to 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now we've got 17. And that's how you complete that page. And that is how we do our homework packets. I wanted to show you a variety of different worksheets that will be coming home in your homework packet. All of those worksheets won't be coming home the same week. Remember, just one sheet per day. And if that's too much for your child, feel free to break it up. You could do 10 minutes at a time. Maybe you're gonna do 10 minutes before dinner and 10 minutes after dinner. It may not even take that long. Some pages can be completed quickly and some take a little bit longer. So feel free to break it up however works best for you and your family. And if you want to do 2 pages in one day, that's fine. You don't have to do Monday's worksheet on Monday. If you only have time to trace the letters, you can, and the tracing of the letter worksheet was Wednesday, but you don't have any time on Monday to do it, you squeeze Wednesdays in on Monday, it doesn't matter. You keep the packet at home all week and send it back to school on Friday. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.